Dirty suit, huh? This should make it better.
My classmate said as he splashed red wine on my suit. The suit, a keepsake from my father, quickly turned red. Trembling with anger, I couldn't do anything. At that moment, a woman with black eyes jumped in front of me. She had seen everything and gave my classmate a sharp look.
I never thought I'd see your true colors here.
The man's face turned pale, and he collapsed to his knees with a look of despair. The sound of my father's typing from his study was like a lullaby to me, who had no mother. Even when I was alone in my bedroom, it felt like my father was nearby. However, one night, I couldn't sleep no matter what, so I went into my father's study while he was working. Japanese books, Japanese English dictionaries, and documents written in Japanese were scattered around. My father didn't seem to notice me coming in. I picked up one of the scattered pieces of paper. No matter how long I looked at the Japanese writing, I couldn't figure out what it said. It was the same with other books I picked up. Still, I wanted to know what was written there. I was curious about what my father was reading.
Liam, you're still up?
My father said, noticing me.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep.
I replied, picking up the book with the coolest spine that was at my feet.
Hey Dad, what's written in this book?
My father smiled gently.
Do you want to learn Japanese too, Liam?
When I nodded, he smiled even more happily. That was my fondest memory with my father. He raised me on his own and gave me many things, one of which was the Japanese language. I had always struggled with studying since elementary school, and that hadn't changed even now that I was in middle school. But Japanese, which my father taught me, was different. Although I didn't have many opportunities to use it in middle school, my Japanese skills were good enough to enjoy Japanese music and movies without any trouble, and I could even live my life speaking only Japanese with my father. One day, on my way home from school, I met a girl. She seemed a bit younger than me, probably still in elementary school. She had black hair and black eyes, and it was clear she was Asian. She looked troubled and was trying to talk to people passing by, but the adults around her would quickly walk away as soon as they saw her. I couldn't just pass by her when she looked like she was about to cry. So, I decided to speak to her in Japanese.
What's wrong?
I asked in Japanese. She looked a bit surprised that a middle schooler was speaking to her in Japanese, but then she responded in Japanese.
I got separated from my mom and dad. I want to go back to this address, but we just moved here, so I don't know the way.
She was holding a note with an address close to my middle school written on it.
Oh, I know this place. I'll take you there.
She happily grabbed my hand and thanked me repeatedly.
I'm Liam Smith. What's your name?
I'm Erica.
Why did you come to the US? Erica?
Because of my parents' work, we move around a lot.
It seemed her parents were moving for a job transfer and frequently on long-term assignments in different countries. She had been following them around, and America was already her fifth country. I listened to Erica talk about her life in various countries. Her stories about the great outdoors and historical buildings, which I had only seen in books, felt more real than anything I had read or seen on TV.
That must be tough, moving around so much at your age.
Erica gave me a bright smile.
Not at all. Every country has its own interesting and wonderful things. I'm happy with my life now.
As we talked, we arrived at her house. Both Erica and her parents thanked me repeatedly, bowing their heads. On my way home, I kept replaying her stories in my mind. Her tales of living in different countries and the allure of unknown cultures sparked a desire in me to pursue a career that involves traveling abroad. A few years later, after graduating from high school, I got a job at a travel agency. Due to family circumstances, I couldn't travel abroad as I wished, so I chose this job to help others experience the joy of traveling overseas. Also, dreaming about foreign countries was the only thing I could pour my passion into, as I was not good at studying. Work, as expected, was challenging. At first, I didn't understand much and was constantly scolded by my seniors. I struggled to properly guide customers, and there were many hardships. However, after a few more years on the job, I got used to it and saved up some money. I started thinking about traveling abroad myself. It was around that time that my father passed away. Having raised me on his own, my father had pushed himself too hard. Over the years, his body visibly thinned, and his healthy complexion gradually faded. Even after I got a job and became independent, my father continued to work without showing any weakness. His overwork likely took its toll. My father had given me many things, including the ability to speak Japanese, when I was young. This time, he left me with one more thing, an old-fashioned suit. Though worn, it was meticulously cared for, with no holes or frays. Despite its age, it symbolized my father's unwavering dedication to his work. When I found the suit while sorting through his belongings, I decided to keep it as a memento. I resolved to wear it during important moments in my life from then on. Years passed since my father's death. Before I knew it, I was 30 years old, about the same age my father was when I first became interested in Japanese. At the travel agency where I worked, I had risen to a decent position and had subordinates. I wondered if I had become the kind of man who could wear my father's suit with pride. Just as I started thinking that way, a letter arrived in my mailbox. It was from a high school classmate, informing me of an upcoming reunion. Despite my struggles with studying, I had fond memories of high school. Even as a child, I would stay out late playing with friends, trying not to worry my busy father. There were a few friends I was eager to see again. I marked my attendance and looked forward to the reunion day. On the day of the reunion, I pondered what to wear. In the end, I decided to wear my best outfit, my father's keepsake suit. The venue was already bustling, and everyone still had traces of their high school selves. Having started working right after graduating high school, I rarely had the chance to chat and drink with people my age. I was excited to join the circle of my old friends.
Liam, is that you?
I heard a voice from behind and turned around. A man in an expensive-looking navy suit with an obnoxiously flashy gold watch was looking at me, swirling red wine in his glass. It was Michael. He wasn't a friend. In fact, he was a guy who always picked on me in high school. For example, he knew I was terrible at everything except Japanese, and when test results were returned, he would come to my seat with his high-scoring paper and say,
"Hey Liam, what did you get?"
Without waiting for my answer, he would snatch my paper and loudly announce my near-failing score to the whole class. Yet, when it came to returning Japanese test results, where I excelled, he wouldn't move an inch from his seat. I also remember gym class. During a soccer lesson, when Michael was on the opposing team, he would pretend to pass the ball to his teammates but deliberately hit me with it multiple times. Even when the teacher finally reprimanded him, Michael showed no remorse and just gave me a spiteful grin, which was a humiliating memory. The strangest thing about Michael's behavior in high school was that I had no idea why he targeted me. I wondered if I had somehow hurt him, but apart from the incidents I mentioned, I had almost no interaction with him. I thought his attitude might have softened at the reunion, but that wasn't the case.
Still got that pathetic look on your face, huh? You look like a dumb, poor loser.
Michael said, running his hand through his hair and flaunting his obnoxiously flashy gold watch. I had heard that Michael's father was the president of a hotel chain with locations all over the United States. In high school, he used to brag about how he would take over his father's company and become the president. Another annoying rich man looking down on the common folk. I tried to keep my emotions in check and handle Michael calmly. "What's up, Michael? That's quite a way to greet someone you haven't seen in a while."
What's wrong with calling a poor person poor?
He sneered. "Why do you think I'm poor?" I asked, getting a bit defensive. He laughed through his nose.
Because you're wearing that old, shabby suit.
He said, pointing at the suit I was wearing. It was my father's keepsake suit, something incredibly precious to me, but to someone who didn't know its significance, it probably looked old and worn. Enough about the suit. Stop picking on me already, I said, trying to walk away. But Michael persistently blocked my path.
And doesn't that suit smell like it's soaked in mold and dust from a poor house?
He added. By then, a small crowd had gathered around us. Our classmates, who had been listening to our exchange, were now focused on the two of us. Michael grabbed the collar of my suit and pretended to sniff it. "Stop it. Don't touch my suit," I shouted, shaking his hand off angrily. Michael looked annoyed for a moment but quickly returned to his hateful smile.
I've got a great idea. A way to make your suit even better.
I had a bad feeling. I should have walked away immediately, but it was too late.
Here's how.
Michael threw the red wine from his glass all over my suit. The jacket and the white shirt underneath quickly turned red. The cold, unpleasant sensation spread to my stomach as the wine soaked through to my undershirt. I was too shocked and furious to speak. All I could do was clench my teeth and glare at Michael, trembling with anger. Our classmates, who had been watching, started to scold Michael, but he didn't seem to care and continued to mock me.
What's the matter? Are you actually mad? Over a cheap suit getting stained? You should be thanking me for adding a nice scent with this fine wine.
I had reached my limit. I stepped forward, ready to punch Michael in the face with all my strength, when a woman's voice interrupted.
What's going on? Are you okay?
She asked, rushing over to me. She had black hair and black eyes. An Asian woman. She was diligently pressing a wet towel against my shirt, trying to stop the wine from staining it. When I glanced over at Michael, his bravado from earlier had vanished. The moment he saw her, his face turned pale, and his body began to tremble with fear.
Erica, why are you here?
He stammered. Erica. The name sounded familiar. Excuse me, but have we met somewhere before? I asked. She smiled warmly and replied.
Yes, you helped me when I was lost as a child, didn't you?
I remembered. She was the little girl who had been crying on the street after getting separated from her parents. Erica. She had grown taller and her features had changed, but there was still a trace of the girl I remembered. She spoke fluent English now. What brings you here? I asked.
Actually, I started a hotel business in Japan and I'm in charge of its management. I was here for a meeting in the next room.
Her eyes fixed on the trembling Michael.
I never expected to see your true colors here.
Michael was wiping the cold sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief.
Erica, there's an explanation for this.
He began.
No need for excuses. I saw everything. Insulting someone and throwing wine on them. I will be canceling our deal with your company.
She declared. Michael's face filled with despair as he collapsed to his knees.
No, losing a $10 million deal over this.
$10 million. It seemed they were negotiating a massive deal. To have it fall apart over one night's mistake. The reunion hall was filled with Michael's anguished cries. I later heard that there was indeed a reason behind Michael's harassment. Back in middle school, there was a parent-teacher day, and it happened to be during a Japanese class. We had to read out essays we had written in Japanese. Michael's mother, after hearing my presentation, told Michael to become as good at Japanese as I was. Since he was expected to take over the family hotel chain, proficiency in Japanese would be necessary, but at the time, he struggled with the language. Being told to emulate a classmate must have been a huge blow to his pride. From that day on, he started to resent me. However, because he held on to that grudge for so long, his company ended up losing a major client. I heard through the grapevine that his company is now facing tough times and that he's living a difficult life. A few days after that incident, Erica and I set aside some time to catch up on each other's lives. After leaving America, Erica moved around several countries before returning to her home country, Japan, during high school. She studied business management in college and started a hotel business with the desire to make travelers' experiences in foreign lands wonderful. Besides reminiscing about old times, there was an unexpected benefit. When I told her about my current job, she expressed interest in doing business with my travel agency. She was looking to expand into the American market and needed a reliable travel agency to partner with. Our companies officially teamed up, and our sales steadily increased. My achievements were recognized, and a few years later, I was promoted to a position where I could manage the business. I owe my success to my father, who taught me Japanese when I was a child. Even now, I wear his keepsake suit and live each day with gratitude to him in heaven.
How did you like today's story? Please subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.